Alright, I'm going to change things up a little bit. I now have 3 of the popular 2017 compact 9mm handguns. I've got the P10, which I've been talking about, and I now have a little over 2,000 rounds through with one cleaning, no malfunctions. I have the Glock 19, which I talked about a week or so ago. This is a Glock 19 Gen 5, 0 malfunctions, haven't cleaned it yet, shoots good. And then I have this, the M&P Compact 2.0. Why do I have all these guns? Because I'm an idiot and I like to blow all my money on these things for no reason. They're all good guns. I've shot I've shot exactly 200 rounds through this gun at this point. No malfunctions. It's an excellent shooter. It's a law enforcement version. I got it with the night sights from the factory. As I told you before, I went ahead and put the 3 dots on the P10. These came from Cajun Gunworks. They were pretty easy to install, not terrible. And then these are some Trijicon 3 dots that I got put on my Glock. I actually didn't install these because every gun store has a tool for installing these, so there's really no reason to do it yourself. It's just a nice set of 3-dot green night sights. Well, the reason I'm telling you that is all of them have the exact same sight picture. Simple green 3-dot sights. So, here's what I'm doing. I'm going to shoot each one of these at least 200 rounds a week. Honestly, 200 rounds a week is probably going to be the most I can stand to shoot through them. I love shooting, but at a certain point you just get bored with it. I'll probably shoot on Friday and Sunday, shoot 100 rounds through each one of them each day. Sometimes I'll shoot a little more, but anyway, the whole point of that is that should get me around 10,000 rounds in a year, give or take. And, might just be able to get a general idea of how these things run. My idea is with the Glock and the M&P to run them 2,000 rounds like I did with the P10 without cleaning to see if they're able to reach the 2,000 round mark without malfunction. I suspect they will. And for the next few weeks, what I'm going to do is shoot these. I'm going to keep shooting the drills, but I'm going to be shooting these by themselves. So, eventually they'll each catch up with the 2,000 rounds through the P10, and once they've caught up, then I'll be shooting each one of them exactly 200 rounds a week. That's as clear as mud, but I think you get the idea. What I'm going to be doing is each week, after I've warmed up, I'm going to do a series of drills with each gun, and I'm going to do the bill drill, which is an easy drill to time, and the 6.66 drill, all of which will be done from the same holster. I have a Raven concealment holster that's meant for a full-sized M&P. It fits all 3 of the holsters comfortably. It rests in place, and it keeps the grip at a good presentation point. So there really shouldn't be any difference between the guns on the drills. I've already noticed. I ran some drills this week, and I've been running drills that they're almost exactly the same. Whichever gun gets shot first gets shot slowest. And for example, this time I did bill drills. The CZ was slowest because I shot it first. And the reason I shot it first was because I was the most familiar with it. The M&P was second slowest, and then the Glock was the fastest, but that was because it was the last gun. The quickest draw was 1.49. Again, I'm no speed demon. And the slowest draw, actually the quickest draw was 1.41 with the M&P. But the second quickest draw and the quickest overall was with the Glock 19, which had a 1.42 draw. Now the interesting thing is, bill drills are not done from concealment. Well, then I switched over to the 6.66 drills, which are done from concealment. Same holster, but just with a t-shirt concealment. I reversed the order with the M&P going first, Glock going second, and the CZ going last. Well, of course, the CZ was fastest that time. With everything being the fastest. So basically, as you warm up with the guns, whichever gun you shoot while you're warmest is probably going to be the fastest. Now, I'll look for trends in this over time, but I suspect all 3 of these guns are basically improved Glocks. I mean, they're all basically, Glock 19s that have been tinkered with through time. I will say, in my initial impressions, I think the M&P 2 has the most mature layout. I think everything about this gun shows that Smith & Wesson is, they're a top-tier gun company, and they're very serious about their designs. Everything about it. I mean, this obviously people are familiar with the M&P design, that it had a lot of input from Rob Leatham. The controls from me have always been good, even on the first gens that were, fairly well maligned by the internet. But the trigger, which wasn't particularly good on the original ones, it wasn't as bad as everybody said, but it was clearly designed with lawyers involved to push it towards the 7-8 pound mark for safety reasons, because the gun really doesn't have a safety on it, and I think they were hesitant. Smith & Wesson has always been a little hesitant to move towards the safetyless gun philosophy. Well, now they're basically, over time, I think the Glock trigger has gotten a little heavier, smoother, but heavier. I think they're all sort of floating around this 6 pound mark, but the triggers are smooth. This trigger is very smooth. The reset is nice, if you give a shit about that. All of that, everything is very nice with this. It's very businesslike. There's no grit, there's no chatter, there's nothing. The Glock's pretty much the same way. You maybe a little bit lighter, you can't really tell. Maybe a little more chatter. I like to call it chatter. I'm gonna make that a thing. There's a little bit right as you're going into it. There's a little bit of resistance. It's basically the same trigger. It's a little bit lighter, but it's got a little bit more resistance built into it. The CZ, as I've shot these guns, I've noticed a little more. This gun has an extremely light trigger, and it's, I guess, once you get to the wall, you can feel the slightest bit. Nah, I can't even feel it. I thought I felt it the other day. But essentially, the CZ has the best trigger of the bunch. There's no question. But I think in terms of the control layouts, like there was a little bit of drama related to the mag releases early on and things like that. None of that made itself apparent with the M&P. The gun design, even with a person with average to small hands like myself, there's no reason to have to change the grip And you'll also notice that of the guns, as I was pointing out, the CZ has very positive magazine, has a very positive magazine ejection. Same thing with the M&P. And the Glock, it's got this kind of, it comes out. It's not a big deal. You just hold the gun. It's a little bit less tolerant of sloppy handling. That being said, I'm now over 400 rounds. I think I made a notation. I'm over 400 rounds with the gun, and there's been no brass to face with this gun. This gun is a champ. The brass goes to the right where it's supposed to, and that was something I was afraid of. That is something that has always irritated me greatly with Glocks, and this gun has worked perfectly. Other than that, I guess there's really not much else to add. I'm gonna shoot all these guns until hopefully one of them breaks or gives me some kind of reason to hate it. A lot of people have asked me whether or not there's any issue with the striker channel with the CZ. I've noticed nothing. Nothing about this has given me any concerns. The gun has run smoothly. I've had 0 malfunctions. None of the guns have had the first malfunction. The M&P, I'm going to run 1 standard magazine. With the Glock, I'm running 2 standard Glock 15 mags. With the M&P and with the CZ, I'm running 2 standard 15-round mags. But I'm going to do something a little bit different with the M&P. I probably shouldn't, but just to see how it works, I'm going to run the 15-rounder, and I'm also going to run one of these 17-rounders with the extension. The extension is a handy little thing. The question is, if I'm going to do that, do I run it with this being the standard mag in the gun, and draw it with this? Would that be sort of a cheat? Or do I use it as a spare mag? But if I use it as a spare mag and the little boot here becomes an issue during reloads, is that sort of unfair to the Smith? I don't know. Either way, I'll keep you updated. Thank you very much.